Welcome back to another episode of the Legionnaires podcast, everybody. As per usual, we got my buddy Grant over here, going to be talking through a couple things. We got a couple things on the board for today. Not too much, but we're going to get a little heavy into a couple things that I think we've been lingering around talking, but I think it's something that needs to be stated. Um, so um, we were gonna have another guest on, but unfortunately, his work he has schedule conflicts, so couldn't have him on. But unfortunately, uh, let's go ahead and hop into this episode. All right, so first things first, we got to talk about WandaVision because I thought I thought it was just gonna be 8 episodes. It's actually 9.
It's 9. Yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry for the misnomer on last week's, finale talks. Because the way the episode ended was kind of awesome. But it didn't feel like a season finale, in a sense.
No, it's
Um,
like, wait, I was like, that's it? And then I was like,
yeah.
so I went on Twitter and I saw that Disney had said that there was,
Oh, hello there. Technical difficulties.
yeah, somebody just called me.
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
Please. Deadpool, I'm gonna need you to do your job here, brother. No. This is
You got to get one of
I
them
had it set
little.
up perfectly.
You got to get one of them holders, them car
I
holders.
know.
Yeah, them car holders be
Right,
hitting.
hold on. We good? All right, we're good.
Should be.
So yeah, I went on Twitter and saw that it said that episode 8 was streaming now. Last 2 episodes. So obviously 8 is well, I don't know if there's going to be 10. I mean,
No, there's gonna be
surprised
8
there's
or
9.
9. Sorry.
9, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
went to.
I thought but yeah, the way the last episode left off and the entire episode actually was was good. We found out that Wanda hadn't stolen Vision's body, which was something I was a bit skeptical about in the first place. I was like, well, why would Wanda do that?
Yeah, that didn't make sense to me, but at the same time, like the way that the episode kind of was tracking was like, oh, she took the body because Dickface wanted to use it for his own gains and stuff like that, and we still don't technically know. We don't
Yep.
technically know what he wants to do. Oh, that sounds much better. I don't know what you did.
Yeah, my mic was muted. I don't know why.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like I don't think he did that. But I mean, at midway through the episode, when they were basically like given like a foreshadowing, not a foreshadowing, a previously on type thing, leading up to the events of the hex, it was like she went and got, it was like, oh, she's gonna go see what's done with him, and she's gonna grab his body, but she
Mm-hmm.
actually didn't do that. So it's like, what the hell? And then it comes to pass like she basically went to the house where they were gonna build. He was building her a house. They were gonna have like this storybook life. And you got to see all the people that were in the episodes, like as she was driving there, and she just created everything, including Vision. Now I don't know if she created the Mind Stone. I think that might have been, Mind Stone Light, so to speak. Um,
Yeah.
let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was interesting. I thought it was a good episode. It was kind of like a ooh. All right, so you know what I'm talking about, and I want to get your take on this. She had her powers before the Mind Stone, which sets up the fact that they're mutants because she had these powers. They didn't necessarily say it. I will shit my pants if they do.
I also believe it will come out because now we have, her actual father is now part of the MCU. I think it will come out that they're both adopted as well.
Right.
I'm firmly on the line that they obviously for reasons they couldn't do it before just because X-Men was X-Men and it was owned by Fox, but now Disney owns Fox, so they have all the rights to the X-Men. So I think it will come out that she's adopted, and I don't know when we'll see Magneto, but we'll see him at some point.
Yeah, I think because they did that in the comics. Like for the longest time,
Hmm.
it was their parents, and then um, it turned into actually Magneto's their parents, and it's like okay. So I think they're still going that route with like that's her
Yeah, yeah.
parents and whatnot. Um, so that's good that they're doing that. And come to find out, she
Hmm.
used her probability, like the word play with what they were saying throughout that entire episode just made me giggle the entire time because
I know.
they're using these words that are basically just like probability, chaos, and if they had just said what I wanted them to say, which was you're a mutant, I would have been ecstatic. But calling her the Scarlet Witch, and using the fact that she uses probability manipulation and her her being having chaos magic like
Yeah.
that's all we need. And it just shows a level of compassion that's pretty legit.
Because all the Mind Stone would have done was just enhanced her powers,
Oh yeah, that would have just kind
which
of like
is
freed her mind from
yeah.
just using the good old version of probably not force pushing but telekinesis that she was kind of doing.
Yeah.
So that was
Well,
pretty legit.
I I kind of enjoyed the trip down memory lane because Wanda's one of those characters where I was always curious, and she kind of I in myself I wasn't particularly happy with Age of Ultron for a
Yeah,
few reasons.
yeah,
Um, but I she was one of the more interesting parts about the film. Her and her brother were one of the more interesting parts about the film. So when when it kind of did that trip down memory lane, and you see the relationship sparking between her and Vision, and it kind of it gives you more insight into Wanda the character, and it was a nice episode, and it set
yeah.
up the next one really really well as well.
Well, interconnecting all the stories of like the Dick Van Dyke Show and how she basically, she's watched these little sitcoms and TV shows her
Yeah,
entire life. Like we caught the whole Malcolm in the Middle kind of like home improvement vibe
yeah,
in one of the episodes. So we're like, okay, then it actually like shows that she was kind of parodying the Malcolm in the Middle, and it's just like, okay, bet, because I grew up watching that. So for them to actually say that she was watching that as when she, not when she was younger. I think right after. Well, wait a minute. It could have been when she was younger. I don't know. But yeah,
I don't know.
them giving
Bryan
the
Cranston's in Malcolm in the Middle.
yeah them just giving a reason why like she made this thing kind of into a sitcom and not just
Hmm.
saying oh well Agatha's the reason why a lot of this stuff happens and explaining. Okay, I was a little let down because they didn't explain. They explained away. Uh, was it Evan Peters or Peter Evans? I can't like. I don't know if his name is spelled.
Evan
Okay,
Peters.
okay. So they explained away Evan Peters' character as he's not actually Quicksilver. He's just a regular guy that she basically manipulated his thoughts into believing that he's his sister. And I'm just like, oh man, like you could have done something with that. Damn it.
Well,
Just
I
a little
think
tongue in cheek.
maybe there's still a place for it. I
Yeah.
know, like in this universe that he's kind of Pietro's well, he's dead.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for anybody that lives under a rock. Um, but I think there's still because I believe Kevin Feige wants Evan Peters to play Quicksilver. I still believe that you watch those scenes in the X-Men,
Oh, he had
he's
fun with
really
it.
the yeah, and they're very they're standout, right? Like when
Yeah.
I watch those scenes in X-Men, I'm like, damn, those scenes were really good. Like all of them, every single one that he had, all really good. So
Well, I mean, time like having a speedster and slowing down time is always fun, especially I mean,
yeah,
leading back all the way to like what was it bullet time back in Matrix, the idea of
hmm
slowing down time to fractionary measurements is always awesome. But when you could see what the person on the other end of that, that time is doing, that's awesome. The was it the kitchen scene or when he goes to the
yeah.
mansion?
That's my favorite one. The
Yeah,
Sweet Dreams. Oh, it's
yeah.
great.
I mean,
It's
him
great.
moonwalking as he's saving people, and stuff like that. It's keeping the was it the French bulldog or whatever? Make sure he keeps the pizza in his mouth. That's always fun. So for them to kind of keep that, and they did a little bit of it. I think they touched on it a little bit in Age of Ultron, but it wasn't.
Hmm.
I don't think they were trying to make it too lighthearted when Quicksilver was doing his stuff, because of the fact that in this one he's not necessarily as jokey and kind of like gives no shits as Pietro or Peter Maximoff in the X-Men was. He's kind of more
Yeah.
serious, had a harder upbringing than having single parents. Well, no, was it because yeah, his mom was single parent in the X-Men, and then
Hmm.
yeah, so but even then it's just, I don't know, it's bringing a little bit of levity in there. I think it's pretty good. Here we go again.
Me 2 seconds.
Oh, you're good. But no, I think, what was it? There was another scene that kind of like put me out there. And I can't remember exactly what it was. Um yep. I'm trying to think. Oh, it was her runes. It was her runes that kind of like that kind of interested me, because I want to know what all those runes were. Those were interesting. Hello there.
Hello there.
um No, but what was it? The runes that
You
she
shouldn't get.
had, the runes that she had when she was in there, that were from the Darkhold. No, and people were talking about how
Yeah.
the Darkhold book was basically from in the same room in the Carmitage. And I was like, no, I don't think that was one of the books that they had, because if all leads to where we think it's going, that's a book that is held by Mephisto. So that isn't a book that would be in Carmitage's collection, because he ain't gonna give that book out to just anybody, and he ain't gonna let that book to go out just willy nilly.
Yeah.
So, but
let's talk about let's talk about what happened at the end of the episode,
oh yeah, the
shall we?
Easter, the was the end scene credit.
Was it an end credit scene?
Yeah, well, I
I
mean,
thought it was just
mid scene credit.
ah.
Yeah, mid
Yeah.
credit scene. Sorry.
So we got for anybody that hasn't seen the episode, spoiler alert. We
Yeah,
got the Vision, which is a kind of recreated Vision in a sense. He's fully white. Looks really cool, actually.
he's a
Um,
person of no color. To be to be quite blunt.
yeah. Um, but yeah, he has like these weird kind of like. Does he have blue eyes? They look kind of blue, right?
uh, look, all right. So if they're going off of yeah, I think they're white. Like, because if they're going
With
based
the
off of the comics he was white, because his original buddy was. It's kind of going on like secret, like little tiny bullet points are
hmm
are basically keeping it in line with how he became uh the white Vision. Like, he was taken by a company, and they basically like took him apart, and then he couldn't go back to his original body, um which was, I can't remember whose body it was, but he was put into this body uh that was created, and he wasn't the same because he didn't have the brain scans of Wonder Man, and that's what kind of gave him a personality.
Oh, okay.
But truth be told, looking back in the comics, the only reason why he actually liked Wanda was because of he had the brain scans of Wonder Man, and Wonder Man. A lot of people, and even he said, and I think in one of the comics, he said that he was in love with Wanda, so that could be a good reason why Vision fell in love with her. Now, later on down the road, he eventually got his OG body back, or something like that. But I do like the fact that they're bringing in the White Vision just to kind of
Because
change it up.
I was always going to ask. So obviously we have this iteration of Vision now,
Right.
the new one, but we also in the Hex we have the old one just with, well, he knows everything that happened now, but um he doesn't have his old memories. He's just he's a manifestation of Wanda's mind, basically.
Right.
Inside of the Hex.
Right.
I was going to ask, because when I saw it at the end of the episode, is there a way to combine the two? Is that possible?
There might be a possibility for her to like put his consciousness, because she's able to kind of put like manipulate people's thoughts, right? Like
Yeah.
she did it with Tony. She did it with the whole Avenger squad. So there is a possibility, because she has like unlocked potential from the Mind Stone. She might be able to converge once like the vision, the and kind of the vision that they have right now, the white one. Maybe
Yeah.
she will finally be like, okay, well, let's put his consciousness into the white vision. Um, that's probably how they'll do it. Now,
Well, they'll most likely, like, if they do that, they'll change his colors back as well, right?
well, he has the ability. I think he has the ability to change his colors.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think, but he doesn't necessarily, maybe because he doesn't have the Mind Stone. You notice, like when he had the
Yeah.
Mind Stone, he was able to like create the cape and make himself look more
the
human.
green suit, right?
Yeah, so I think once he has a consciousness, he'll be able to kind of like mimic people. Because when he first came out, he didn't. So there's a possibility that once she merges like his consciousness from her little reality that she created in him, that's possible. That's a good possibility. Now I don't know how was it Billy and yep.
Tommy?
Yeah, Billy and Tommy. I don't know how both of them are they get out of this one. Like I say, they keep saying that's a surprise guest.
But I believe they're real, aren't they?
I don't know. If all is like it is, I think it will end with Mephisto coming out, and that will be like maybe kind of like a baddie for her to deal with, maybe for like season 2 or something like that. But not season 1. Maybe like it's kind of like a culmination thing. Like he finally gets born because he has all these essence out there, and these are the last 2. All he needed was her to basically create them, or something like that, or they were already there, and all he needed was to absorb them, something like that.
Well, can you imagine if we see Ian McKellen in the next episode?
I don't know if they'll do that. Look, I'm shooting more towards like somebody that's in her like specific, thing. I don't think it's gonna be. Everybody's saying like Reed Richards and stuff like that, but I don't think they're gonna try to like push for, like kind of like clickbait in a sense. I don't think they're gonna do that. Bless you.
Pardon me.
Yeah, I don't think they would do that. Yeah, I think it's gonna be like somebody like Mephisto or.
You don't think Magneto will make an appearance?
He might. He might. It might be him, but I don't think it'll be Ian McKellen. If anything, it might be like, what's his face? Yep.
Well, because the reason I said Ian McKellen is because it brings me back to, the whole thing that they said about Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there thinking to myself, okay, so we get a Mark Hamill style reveal. I was like, who's an actor that's slightly on the scale of Mark Hamill that, could make like a shock appearance in this? And I was thinking, and I was running down the list of the actors, and I was like, well, you've got Robert Downey Jr. I was like, but he's probably not going to make an appearance in this, and I'd be completely shocked if he did. You've got Chris Evans, Captain America. He's not going to make an appearance in this, although he. Again, I thought about this one, but then I was like, Magneto's her father.
Right.
I was like, and Ian McKellen's the first. He was the first actor to play Magneto, and then obviously Michael Fassbender did it afterwards.
Yeah, Fassbender. That's what
I was sitting there thinking to myself, I mean, that'd be pretty cool if they, if he came to help his daughter in a time of need.
Yeah, but
And
look,
if it was him.
Look, Ian McKellen is getting a lot older, so I don't
He's
think
only 80.
Only 80. The average
Yeah.
lifespan for people nowadays is like 75. It dropped.
Yeah, but he's healthy.
It don't matter about being healthy. He's healthy for what we know. Look at Chadwick Boseman. Nobody knew that guy had cancer. Nobody knew.
Yeah,
it.
Okay, that's true.
So
Ian McKellen is actually healthy.
Well, okay,
he does regular updates on.
Right. Okay, but I mean, he's 80. Who knows how long he can live? He can live for tomorrow. He can live, until he's like 100. Who knows? But the fact of them trying to build a new character, not build, but kind of like assimilate the characters from the X-Men, at least him and Patrick Stewart they'd be taking a chance, because at the end of the day, they don't know the longevity of how long they got. So bringing those characters in is kind of a risk to possible recasting. Nobody knew that, Chadwick Boseman was going to he was going to die. That was kind of a sudden thing. So them having to kind of not really recast, but kind of recast him. That's kind of like a thing that you have to deal with. Or people that, want to try to recast other people in the MCU, like Chris Pratt.
I was. What do you mean, Chris Pratt?
No, I'm saying people want to cancel him so bad.
They're all women, Cal.
It's younger generation. It's Generation Z.
The Generation Z idiots, the same idiots that want to cancel Eminem. Are you serious? The guy's been doing this since.
Well, I mean,
idiots weren't even born.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's a topic for when we need to get into our next top, not this next topic, but the one after that one. I think we need to get into a couple things dealing with comics and a couple things. But
right. Let's continue. Let's
finish
off. So, what are our thoughts for the next episode? Mine is we're gonna get a big surprise. I feel like Marvel are not gonna have their first season of their first TV show, and there has to be a big surprise in there.
Yeah, it has to be somebody to grip a lot more audience for the second season, because I think they're going to do a second season. I don't think it's just going to be a one-off.
I don't think it's going to be a one and done. I think that WandaVision will be a yearly thing.
Yeah,
I think because
but they got to grip people.
There's too much for them to explain with Wanda for her to have her own movie. Therefore, they're going to continue because it's a success as well. I mean, the amount of people that talk about the show after every episode is similar to the numbers of The Mandalorian. And The Mandalorian's Star Wars, so that's...
Yeah, and the more that they bring in stars that are from the actual MCU is the more people that are going to garner, watch the show and stuff like that.
And the other thing that I thought about as well is the more that Disney Plus keeps on having these shows, these standout shows, the more people are going to keep subscribing to Disney. And then I was like, what other things could Disney turn into TV shows? And I've thought about this quite a lot. I think that, they could turn many of their things into TV shows and it be successful.
Oh yeah, it's just a matter of how to go about it and who would be the showrunner. Because I think the showrunner and how to go about it would be the biggest issues that people would have when it comes to that.
Well, Kevin Feige is very hands-on with all of these projects, which I think is nice for Marvel, because they how after Age of Ultron people are like, no, they're not doing things right, and then they because we just had the Winter Soldier, right? And that was like one of people's favorites, and I really liked the first Avengers film, and then Age of Ultron was like, it's almost like he just tried to carbon copy the first one.
Yeah, it was all right,
but
it wasn't that bad.
But yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
And then of course we got, there were so many that came after that, like Civil War.
Civil War was more like a second Avengers movie, but it was kind of like a mini
because it wasn't because of like the character restrictions they had, they couldn't do like an actual civil war inside of the Avengers because they. I mean, for anybody that's read the Civil War comics, it's a
Oh,
pretty
people die.
yeah, it's huge.
And they're
Like
not pulling their
it's
punches in that because of all the stuff that's going on. So I think
Mhm.
them pulling their punches in this is like, I don't know. So
But yeah, they definitely didn't want to kill. You know, we got introduced to 2 new characters in that film as well, which was nice.
yeah, I think it might be. I think it might be Mephisto, but I think it could be. It could be Magneto. They could be like low key about it. I don't know too much about anything. I do know that they announced that they're bringing She-Hulk. They're starting pre-production on
Yeah, Mark
She-Hulk.
Ruffalo's going to be in that as well.
Yeah, I got confirmation that they're starting to film that, but pre-production, not post. So between that and Black Adam, they have 2 pre-production films going on right now. And then I think
What? And then they've got what? Spider-Man.
yeah, they're in. I think they're in filming
They're in
and
production.
post.
Yeah, they're in production
Yeah,
for Spider-Man.
yeah. So
Because they've been in production for Spider-Man for a while. When was it? Did it start in December? When was it Tom Holland finished? As soon as he went back to do reshoots in Berlin for Uncharted, he then immediately flew out to Atlanta and
he's
started
Nathan
shooting
Drake in
Spider-Man.
Uncharted.
Yes.
Oh, damn it! I thought they were gonna have Nathan Fillion as that shit. What the fuck? It's bitch asses.
It's got Mark Wahlberg in it as well.
Yeah, I get.
It's
Oh,
already
I
been
mean, it's
filmed.
got Marky
It's
Mark
done.
and the Funky Bunch. I get that, but I thought that Nathan Fillion. I thought that Nathan Fillion, when they did that little short, I thought he was pretty decent. I thought they should have casted him, but I guess they want to go for younger stars.
Well, yeah, this is like an early one, so
Yeah.
yeah, I think Tom Holland's a good choice as well.
Yeah. All right. So our second topic is CDL
Let's talk
post
about
Super
yep.
Week.
Let's talk about Super Week.
It worked out. It worked out the same way I was thinking it was. Like, hold on. Let me go look up the stats. Not look up the stats.
Dallas were in serious danger actually during the week, and I thought
They
about this. And
who'd they lose to? They lost, or no, they lost a couple maps, or at least one to.
yeah, they didn't lose to anybody during the week, so they'd already lost to the Rock though, and they were 2-1
Yeah.
heading into the week, and then they had to play a very on fire New York,
Yeah.
LA Thieves, and they played Royal Ravens this week, and they went to a game. When they went to a game 5 with the Royal Ravens, I was like, oh my god, New York's gonna smoke them off the face of the earth.
Right. I mean,
And I was like, it could get really bad because at that point they were 3-1. But if New York won theirs and then and LA Thieves won theirs, Seattle would not Seattle, Dallas would have started in the losers bracket heading into the major because
right.
it would have been. Wait, would they have? I can't remember.
Do what now?
No, Minnesota would have needed to win one of their matches, I think, and they would have started. Yeah, they would have started in losers. But Dallas, they clutched up when they needed to.
Well, see, okay. So what was it? Okay, so they it came down to game 5 with Dallas. It came down to game 5, and I forget which round it was that they ended it on, but it wasn't round 11.
New York.
Yeah, I don't think it was round 11. I think it was like 6-4.
Yeah, it was
6-3, 6-4. Yeah, okay.
It was 6-3.
Yeah, so but they had a scare because they were coming out, and Diamond Con is coming out of nowhere. Like this guy, he's like Awakening, but I think he's less sketchy than Awakening. There's a couple people that are coming up in the scene.
Dallas had a scary week. They almost lost to London.
Yeah.
That went to a game 5. Then they almost lost to.
You talking about London?
Then they almost.
No.
London almost beat Dallas.
Wait. When was that?
That was a game 5. It was the first or second day of the week.
No, you talking about Sunday? No, wait, Sunday?
No.
Oh, they played him Sunday.
What, London? No,
Oh no no
London did
no
not
no
play
no.
Dallas
No
on
no no no.
Sunday.
I'm talking about. Sorry, I'm looking at the something else. Don't worry about me.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the week started for Dallas with them almost losing to London, right? But they clutched up.
Yeah.
They lost both the hard
Oh
points in
yeah.
that series, which surprised me. And I thought New York was just going to run straight through them because
Yeah.
New York was just they had the hot hand. They 3-0'd London. They 3-0'd Minnesota, and I was like, oh dear. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
But then I think yeah. Well, they obviously ended up losing to Dallas in a game 5, and then it was LA Thieves versus Dallas to see.
Oh, and they got smoked.
Yeah,
They
to
got
see. Well,
3-0 hot
they didn't
smoked.
get. I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't say they got smoked. Well, they did in the control, but I wouldn't say they got smoked. I'd say that they were. They were in it in the hard point, and they were definitely in it in the surge until Crim. Obviously Crim 1v2'd
Yeah.
round 11. But that was so. If Dallas had lost that series, they would have been 3rd seed, and they would have played Optic first round of the major.
Yeah.
But yeah, they clutched up. They 3-0'd, and they're first seed. They're still going to have to play Optic because I think New York are good, but I don't think they're on a similar sort of level to Optic, in which they haven't got a week to sort of catch up to where Optic's at right now.
Right.
I put Optic in top 2 in the game. I put Phase 1, and they haven't looked great recently. It took some remarkable fucking stuff out of Simp for them to even win that series.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's their ability to like their clutch factor. I mean, their clutch factor. I think after last year, them realizing and them coming together and being like, because at a certain point, like you're watching them and they're just like they're not even trying to go. They're waiting for their full team to do a push, and they're just letting time tick and doing weird stuff like that. And I think they realize like, oh shit, with that when we do that, it basically messes up because that gives them the opportunity to basically win. And I think that's a big problem that they had last year.
Here's my problem with the whole phase situation, right? So in their hard points, and they'll get punished for doing this against the better teams. They don't rotate and then they expect to break freely. Now they're doing it against teams like Paris, and they're doing it against teams like Toronto Ultra, and they're doing it against teams like LAG. But when it comes to a team like Optic or Dallas or New York or LA Thieves, you try doing that against those teams, and they're going to punish you, and that's what's going to happen. Like, did you watch the Optic Toronto game?
Yeah, I did, but like looking back at when they did play on the hard points in the search and destroy, I can't remember exactly how it was, but I
Well, no,
know.
not the surge, but the hard points. So, what did Optic play against FaZe? We played Garrison and Moscow, right?
Yeah.
The only reason that FaZe won Moscow was because the early rotation to street where Abizi got that 3. Well, no, it wasn't an early rotation to street. Optic had found all the kills, and Abizi just got a miraculous 3-piece. He doesn't 3-piece right there, and Optic just win the map straight up.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I mean,
that's
I
what
get
I'm
that.
saying. FaZe they're relying too much on their ability to just bully people out of hills, but that's sort of the mantra for Optic. I mean, that's what they've done for years, especially with the Dynasty roster. They just used to bully people out of the spawn,
Yeah,
out of the hill.
but I don't think with the caliber of team that they have, the idea of getting a 3-piece on a team to take the hill, that shouldn't be a thing. Like on the top 3 teams, that should not be a thing where you should get 3 kills.
No, it shouldn't be a thing. And this is what I'm trying to say. Like when I would say that Optic are the best hardpoint team in the game. I would say that from watching their hardpoints. Yeah, they lost one to LAG, but it was a Garrison. Garrison's a bit of a weird map.
Yeah.
But they look in terms of people are not going to get to play Optic on Crossroads because they straight up just ban it in the vetoes. They don't want to play the map. They don't want anything to do with the map because it's so easy. And I think Scump said it best. He said it's so easy for the map to just spiral out of control.
Right.
He said it's so easy because the map's so small and you don't get punished for not rotating early. Like, he said because the map's so small, like the map can so easily get away from you that we don't want to play it in our map pools. And he
Right.
said, yeah, maybe one day we'll get really good at it, but he said I can't see us playing it anytime soon.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
then
I
you
get
look
that.
at so then you look at right, okay, what are you going to ban against Optic? Well, they're a very good raid team on all 3 game modes. You know, they made a few mistakes against Toronto in the Surge, but they're a very good raid team. I think they're undefeated in Control on that map, and they're undefeated in Hardpoint.
Yeah, you might have
So,
to get
are
the
you going to
analytics
play
for
them
that
in
one.
raid? I mean, do you ban raid and then let them play Checkmate, which they're also undefeated on?
Well, what was it? What was Sunday? I was watching, and it was like Gary, checkmate, 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 Gary.
Yeah, that was the Optic and Los Angeles Guerrillas series.
I was like,
no, Mutineers. That was the Mutineers series.
yeah, I was just like, what kind of shit is this? Like,
Yeah, it was
no
Garrison,
variation.
triple Checkmate, and then what? Garrison again.
Yeah, that's buggy. Like that, I don't like that because that shouldn't be that way. I mean, I get it that they pick the maps, but that there's no room for like anything else. It's just not exciting to see them play on the same. It's like when we're playing league play and you play it and you play on the same exact map with, you know, whether it be hard point or control, like 5 different times. You get tired of that map after a while. And I get it that they're not good.
Unless it's raid, I never get tired of raid.
You never get tired of raid, but I still think I think after this first major, they need to bring in Express.
They're not going to. There's too many problems on the map. There's too many, so I don't know if you've seen Cal, but there's like a load of spots on the map where you can see people visibly through walls and shit. It's just
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is like after the major, they need to go ahead and fix those issues, and then bring that map out.
I think what the pros have been told is they're going to try and bring standoff in. I think that's what.
Well, they better hurry up with it because I mean, time's ticking. You know.
I know.
All right, so real quick, looking at Group A, Group B, what's the point of the groups if they're just playing everybody? I don't get
it. No. Essentially, they're not. Well, essentially, the point of the groups it's pool play, so it's 4 weeks of pool play leading up to the major, and the major you have the losers and the winners bracket. So,
I get that.
So essentially, what we have is I don't know if the groups then get redrawn before the next thing. I don't know if the groups get redrawn, but you essentially have 4 weeks of pool play.
But okay, so phase or what was it?
You guys have a bye.
Well, I get that, but okay,
Dallas have a bye.
So how many people have played? Like looking back at the schedule, looking back at who plays who. All right, so the Mutineers play that. We play Optic, or we played Optic. Paris. Okay.
So like in the terms of the groups, everybody's played each other.
So basically this last week was just group play essentially because before then it was people playing different people.
The Super Week was group play, and then we have the major this week.
Okay, so that makes sense.
This
I was a little
the
confused.
First major. We're kicking off with Florida and Seattle.
Right.
And Toronto and London.
Right.
So they were the bottom. And then I believe you have Paris then waiting for one of those teams in the losers bracket. And you have on the other side the Rocker, I believe, are also in the losers bracket.
Yeah.
And then the top side, the winners bracket, you've got Los Angeles Guerrillas versus.
I don't.
Who are they playing?
LA
Thieves. So you've got the Battle of LA, and then you've got Optic versus New York, and then the winner of Optic versus New York plays Dallas, and the winner of the other LAG and LA Thieves plays FaZe. And then, the winner of that then has winners finals, and it's the exact same format as champs. Do you remember the format of champs?
Yeah, but it's a little bit different because you don't have like whatever team it is basically like getting 3 buys to where they don't have to really play, and they have to win one and they're in winners finals. Like that was a little stupid to me.
No, that's It's literally the same way. So if FaZe
It
win
is,
one
but
game,
it isn't.
no, it's the exact same way. It's the
Wait,
exact same.
watch out.
I promise you, it's literally the same exact format. And then the finals is a best of 9.
Because I was looking at the bracket, and we had to win two. Two that I know of, because they didn't want it exactly like it was last year, where it was basically like you had to compete 3 different times before you got to the top end.
Promise you, it's the same way.
Okay, I mean you could have saw
Promise
something
you.
I didn't, but anyways,
The
all right.
bracket is the exact same way. So FaZe start off in winners semis, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I wasn't saying that, but in the last one, it was winners finals, and then whoever wins that goes to grand finals. That's how it was last year.
Well, yeah, but nobody started in winners finals.
Bullshit. Yeah, he did.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, we had to win one, and we would have got into winners finals, but we lost, and we had to go into losers.
No, you didn't lose. You beat Optic to go into winners finals.
Amen.
So Optic beat New York.
I can't look at the bracket.
Literally, this is at champs, right? So Optic beat New York, then played FaZe in winners semis, who were waiting to play, lost to FaZe in a game 5. FaZe then went on to play Dallas in the winners finals, and then they had to wait a week to play. But that's not what's happening here. The major is just Wednesday to Friday.
Yeah, stage 1 major.
Wednesday to Sunday.
Wednesday
to Sunday.
That's what I was talking about, though. Looking at the round, we're both in round 2 because we're Dallas is in
Dallas is and FaZe are in winners round 2. So winners semis
round 2.
Technically.
I get that, but looking back at the last year, can I even see it, or it won't let me see it?
You might be able to see it. I'm telling you, it's the exact same format.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna look it up real quick, because I remember last year the champs was like the WoW. It was not all-star, not postseason. Okay, here it is. Bracket. All right.
It's the exact same.
It was winners 3. Winners 3, that's what we were in. And if we won winners 3, hold on, let me expand on it.
Because there was more teams in winners.
Right.
So Optic started in winners 2, but it's because there was more. So it was only the bottom 4 teams.
Yeah.
That were in losers bracket, whereas this time around it's the bottom 6.
Okay, that makes sense, because I was just sitting there like I was looking at it. I'm just sitting here like, okay, we're in winners. We were in winners 3 last time. All we needed to do was basically.
That's all you need to do this time is win 1, and you're in winners finals.
Yeah, that was all we needed to do, was do that, and then we would have got in a winners final, and then we would have played them. But I can't remember.
Which I think that's going to hurt people in this game. I think at the majors that's going to seriously hurt people. Because, like, Optic, Dallas is going to be waiting to play Optic, right? Yeah, you can study and do whatever you need to do in the S&Ds. But if they completely change up their veto process to counter you, and you haven't got anything from the day before, right?
Right.
And they just run through you because they've already played a team, it's going to be like, well, shit, I mean, we tried to prepare and we couldn't because... and then I guarantee you, Crim6 goes, well, we got schedule fucked.
Yeah. Damn, you did 5-1. Shit, I remember that. That was a harsh ass shit. 5-1. Is it best of 11 or some shit? Best of 9.
Best of 9.
Oh god, that was
9,
horrible.
that was
Hopefully they don't do that shit again this year. All right.
Oh no, they are. They're doing best of 9s, and then apparently, champs. Rumors of it being a best of 11.
God, they don't need to do that. Okay, so
I think that I've always thought the more COD the merrier.
I mean, true.
I've always been on that.
But I think when they play a lot more, I think they get fatigued.
I'd rather it was 2 best of 5s.
Yeah,
that's what I'd rather it was.
Yeah. All right, so we're coming up on 45. I think we need to get to the big elephant in the room, or
yes,
not really an elephant, but all right. So Amber Heard has finally. Okay, so long story back. I'm gonna get some I'm gonna give everybody a backstory who maybe not be familiar with the subject. Okay, so Amber Heard and Johnny Depp were married,
Mhm.
and she came out with a story saying that he abused her, um, and for like a few days or something like that, it was basically pandemonium. You know, Johnny Depp, da 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 da. Da. It was during the I wouldn't say the height of the Me Too, but kind of like the on the back end of the Me Too, where everybody was coming out with their stories. And then
Yep.
he got fired from Disney as Captain Jack Sparrow, and so he retaliated with audio and I think video proof or
Video
evidence
proof, yeah.
that he was innocent and that she basically was hitting him. And at one point, she even threw a bottle that was, I think, broken already and cut like a part of his finger off. And it had to be like sewn on and shit like that. And for the
Yeah, didn't
longest
she hit?
time,
Did she like hit him with an iron as well, or
yeah,
something? I don't know.
she did a lot of shit, and there was a big outroar of people that were Johnny Depp supporters, basically saying, "Hey, like he didn't do it. It's been proven that that he didn't do anything. He's innocent. Why don't you rehire him for his role as Captain Jack Sparrow?" They kept talking about they were going to recast it, do a gender swap. Stuff like that, and people were like, "No, you don't need to do that. Bring back Johnny Depp. He didn't do anything wrong. It's been proven. There's no point." Amber Heard was the person that was supposed to be, you know, like if the roles had been reversed, she would have been ousted right off the bat. But Warner Brothers and DC, they were kind of hem and hawing. They came out with Aquaman. It actually had really, really good success, which I love that movie. It's really,
It's a good movie.
it's a phenomenal movie.
Shame she's in it, but it's a good movie.
I don't think it has any like bearing on her being in it. I don't think she basically helped or hurt the movie in a
No,
certain sense.
I just said it's a shame she's in it.
Yeah, I do think she did play a good Mara. I'll give her that.
Yeah. Yep.
But I do think that this needs to be addressed because of the fact that she just now got taken off of Aquaman 2 and she just now got she's not in the Zack Snyder cut at all. They took her out of the credits. They took her out of all of her scenes out. I think that were there was maybe one scene, but a lot of the stuff that was kind of like reshot. So like her creating that water bubble, I think that was a reshoot. The original one, whereas like she was on land or some shit like that. I don't know. But Johnny Depp has been recast as Captain Jack Sparrow, so all is well. But it took a long time. I think it took 2 years for this shit to happen,
Yeah.
and I think that's a big issue.
So what was happening over here, Cal, with the court cases, right? So first, it was the court cases, and the court ruled in favor of Amber Heard, right? That was the first one, and then Johnny Depp tried to sue the Sun because they came out with a bunch of articles basically, slandering his name, and they were untruthful and they were lies and all this sort of stuff. And he lost that court case too. I don't know how, and I don't know why he lost both the court cases. It seemed very corrupt. Like somebody had definitely paid off someone.
Oh yeah.
And he lost. Right?
Yeah.
Someone was trying to cancel the man. I don't know who it was, but it seemed like everybody was against Johnny Depp, and I was like, well, the evidence was all there, right? You look at the whole Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. The majority of the stuff that Johnny Depp done was in self-defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, somebody's coming at me with a glass bottle. I don't care. I don't care who you got.
He had a problem. He had a drinking problem.
Yeah.
But like, if you're in an abusive relationship, you're gonna have a drinking problem.
Yeah. I mean, it's either you have a drinking problem or you throw fisticuffs for self-defense, and you took the higher road. For a lot of people, that was the higher road. Was like he did retaliate, and I think that is kind of a double standard that is going on right now, where people in the industry, they love to talk about the abuses that happen on the women's side, but they don't talk about the inverse of that, where people like, let's say, Terry Crews. Terry Crews came out against a few producers and people in Hollywood and said that they were touching him inappropriately. And he kind of got canceled. Now, granted, he did say a couple things here recently that kind of didn't I wouldn't say help him because I feel like you should once again should be able to say what you want to say. Um, but I feel like nobody ever did anything against him. Nobody ever did anything against George Takei because of his allegations that he did. Um, and they're like anytime it's against somebody or something like that, they did used to have this problem back when I think it was like Rob Lowe when he was like dating Jewel, and she was like underage. And you can even go back to Elvis when he, was with was it Priscilla Presley and she was like underage. I get it. But if we're calling out people, we don't need to worry about who they are. As far as like whether they're male or female, it doesn't matter. Like if somebody does something wrong, you call it out for wrong. Chris D'Elia, he's going down right now for like
Mm-hmm.
CP and I forget what the other thing is, but he has those allegations, so he's going down. Um,
Well,
who
there was the recent ones on Sheila Booth as well, right?
Shia LaBeouf, yeah, he
But
I don't exactly know what it was though, but he's got a lot.
I
He's
don't
got a
know.
couple things.
I don't know if it was just normal assault or sexual assault. I don't. I I really don't know. But I know there was a time when he was like super fucked up in the head, like, and he kind of sorted all those problems
Yeah,
and
he got
kind of got
everything.
away from all
Yeah,
those problems. So I don't know what's going on with that, but that one's not publicized, right? That one's behind closed doors. That it,
right,
it came out that she reported it and everything, but that one's like being done behind closed doors, not in the eye of the public. So,
right, right, and I get that. Like,
but
was it Aziz Ansari? Aziz Ansari had a date with a female, and she didn't like how the date went after
mhm,
the fact. So after the fact, she didn't like how the date went, and she basically reported that a couple things went on, and he got canceled. He had
mhm,
no way to deal with it because it was a mob mentality to basically take him down. Even after she came out and finally said that yeah, it was just a bad day and I didn't like it. But at that point, the damage has already been done.
yeah,
Um,
it's the same. So you remember last year when we were all in lockdown, right?
mhm.
Was it just before? Or just I can't remember. I think COVID had hit, or maybe it was just before that. But some woman tried to completely cancel Syndicate, right? Do you remember?
I remember hearing of it. I didn't hear too much about it though.
Okay, so two separate women came out with stories, right? And
Hmm.
then Syndicate basically provided all the evidence, said he was going to go to court, yada yada yada, and then nothing was heard about it
Right.
because one of the woman's statements didn't add up at all,
Right.
right? And then when Tom released his statement and basically exposed the other girl, it was like, oh. And people are so quick to judge the man when these things happen, and it's like a spiral effect of just everybody jumping on the train because they believe it's true because everybody's saying the same thing.
Right. I mean, I get it. There are situations, there are shitty people out there. I really do get
Yeah.
it. But the idea that the I mean, let's put it out there. Like the dating scene right now is so weird because of the fact of
Mm.
like trying to go out there and let's say you want to go on a date. You have to be really really careful what you say, what you do, everything that goes with that. And I think that's a scary thing for people to do nowadays because at the end of the day,
Yep.
you have no idea what can happen. You don't. And I think that's a
No.
big. I think people from both sides of the aisle need to come in and people need to talk about it instead of just because there are situations. I get it. There are definitely situations that need to be talked about when it comes to people in the industry taking advantage of aspiring actresses or just
Mm-hmm.
aspiring people aspiring to get their career started in the business. But I think it needs to be held to a standard on both sides of the aisle. I don't think it should
Pe-
be one thing.
People using their position of power to manipulate women is disgusting.
Oh
I
yeah,
hate it.
yeah.
I
If it
I
was up to
hate
me, I'd put him in a firing line. Um,
it.
I would.
I agree. I
I
agree.
I feel like anybody who basically does something like that, like the movie Rent. I remember when that
Mm-hmm.
movie not came out, but like remember watching that movie when I was younger, and like the stuff that was done to basically say, hey, you know, like if you want to stay in this position. Ooh, case in point, the David Dobrik thing. Oh,
Hmm.
so okay, so the David Dobrik thing comes to mind, where it's like the guy wants to basically be a part of the house, and he wants to, you know, he wants to make it in the business. So they basically kind of make him do some weird stuff. He kissed another dude, but he was tricked into doing it. But he didn't say anything about it because of the fact that, you know, he didn't want to be like canceled by
Yeah.
David Dobrik and basically go on this whole like tour of shit. So he basically like, you know, kind of shut up. But David Dobrik came out, and a couple people came out and were like, yeah, this happened. Like it was nothing. And that's a big issue that they're having right now. But I think it's a big issue where people need to come together and we all need to talk about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
Sure.
I think, you know, they were talking about Emilia Clarke being taking over the role of Mera in Aquaman, and
I saw the concept art and I was sold immediately. So.
yeah, I mean, I can see it. I can see it. I mean, like who? All right, so she's got. It's going to be really interesting because of the fact that you have Khal Drogo and you have Daenerys Targaryen.
I think that's why people like. I think that's
Yeah.
why people went with Emilia Clarke,
Yeah.
because those two have such a good relationship.
Yeah.
Every
God.
time he comes to England, he spends his time with Amelia because, you know, she's like a, you know, a sister to him.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey,
it was sort of this
he's like
thing
a
where
brother to me. He's from Iowa. Us Iowa boys got to stick together. You know what I'm saying? You know, we got to stick
you
together.
know, and it was such a thing where, you know, obviously everything that Amelia's gone through with her, you know, with the brain stuff,
Yeah.
you know, and it was the whole, you know, she inspires me to get up every day, you know, and essentially leave my family to go to work, know that I'm providing for my family. But he was like, you know, if there's a person I'm going to do this for, you know, it's her. She inspired me to get up every day, work my ass off, sort of thing. And you know, he's become, you know, certainly one of my favorite people in the industry. He's very
Yeah.
fun in Aquaman. I think that, you know, the role suits him down to a T.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's one of these things where it's reinvigorated Aquaman, because he was kind of the fucking butt of every single joke in the DC
Yeah.
universe. He was just a terrible character.
I mean, there's a way that they could have done it to where they could have made it campy, kind of like they did with the Remy Spider-Mans. But I think
Yeah.
if had they done it campy like that, it would have been it would have been memed upon a whole
Yeah.
lot because of the fact that it's like, oh well, you know, you're kind of being campy, and that's what everybody thinks about Aquaman. It's like he's not that serious, and it's like actuality, he's actually pretty awesome. Um, but I think we need to get to our last story. You said you were gonna come up with the last topic, and I don't know what
Yeah,
you're gonna say.
I was going to touch on The Walking Dead.
It was
That's
trash.
what
Oh,
well,
it's
I mean,
trash. It
but
was
like, this is what I was going to say, Cal. Right? It was like, okay, it provides you a you know, and there's certain times where people will say, "Oh, I wish I had more insight into that," or "I wish I had more insight into that." It was like, it was one of those things where, you know, it's kind of reuniting Daryl um and Maggie, you know, and for the first time you kind of get to see how much she truly cares for her son, how far she's willing to go for
we
her
already know
son.
that though, but that's not a thing. So like
No,
my
but
go ahead.
I know,
Oh,
but
yeah, you
like,
go ahead,
okay,
and then
so
I'll.
if you're in a pandemic, right? You know, which is, by the way, we never thought in our lifetimes that we'd be sitting here in a pandemic, you know, as dangerous as this one is. The filming complications, and you can tell during the episode, but I think it's nice that people, you know, just have something to watch until the summer, because that's when the actual season 11 starts.
I get that.
Um,
Um, my problems stem with the fact that this is literally all right. So if they're doing the block C or C block, or you know, the third half of the season, um, I get that they're trying to push something out just for sakes, just for
mhm.
shits and giggles. I get it, but the stories that are put out there, that your stories that you put out there are canon. So anything that you're putting out there, people are going to use for future or previous reference. So you coming out with an episode that basically is like, hey, I'm back. We need to go all the way back to where I came from to get my kid. And that was the entirety of the episode. We're not really going to learn anything about the Reavers or Reapers. I don't think we're going to learn shit about them. And good, because I don't really need any more of the different nicknames for people.
I'm just looking forward to Negan's episode. That's what I'm
well, but that's what I'm saying. Like if they had just like got to the point where it was, because there's a lot of tension. You can tell that there's so much tension when she sees him for the first time.
You could feel it.
So it's just like
you could feel it.
There could be a whole episode based off of that. A whole episode. Mm-hmm. So for them to just kind of like, okay, well, she's going to go back for her kid when her kid should be with her. Okay, she watched Glenn get bonked on the head. There's no way you could tell me that she's letting that kid go. Like just to stay with people that she might know, but she doesn't know as well as the people that she's been with.
It picks up pretty much immediately after
she saves
the last episode.
I get that. I get that. But her leaving her kids.
I think she probably knew what she was walking into.
Well, right.
No, because obviously you see her in the episode, she's reading the letter.
Right.
She's not going to take Herschel into that situation, right? She's
right.
Leaving Herschel with her people that she trusts, people that she's been living with.
Okay, I get that. Yeah. But there should have been a whole episode on it.
I mean, again, she's, we know Maggie's a very protective woman. And again, it's like one of these learning experiences where, okay, like, again, I was panicked because my son was almost killed, but now he's in a place where he's going to be looked after, right? He's in Alexandria. If these Reaper people come to Alexandria, they're probably going to get wiped off the face of the planet.
Yeah, they're going to get squashed. I mean,
they're going to get squashed.
How many
they
different?
They get squashed, boy.
However many people that they went against, I doubt that the Reapers are even that good. Hell, they should have died when that grenade went off. That's beside the point.
That's just not. That's just not, because like
that grenade. All they did was like turn around and go. And yeah, and I'm just like, that's not how grenades work.
That's just,
like I said, man. I get it.
Get past it. I know
I get it. It's people, coming to grips with like, hey, last year sucked, so let's go ahead and we only got one episode, I think, last year. Yeah. I think we got a little bit, and then they stopped, and then they finally came out in like the latter half of the year. They finally spit on that last episode.
No, we had 7 episodes during.
Yeah, and then they finally
the pandemic, and then the final one came out like
in
September. I want to say October, somewhere around.
It was something like that. They finally came out. It was a long
time.
Yeah,
we waited a long time for that one episode.
Yeah, and they finally came out. It really wasn't. I mean, a little bit, but not really, because like it jumped from like them being okay, them being like trapped in someplace, and I was like, wait, how'd that happen? But like I said, I felt like it was a good old fashioned filler episode that you would get watching any anime ever, where they basically are just going from this place to get this thing to come back, and in that time frame they're gonna exposit all the stuff that she's went on, when they could have easily worked off of that tension of her being at Alexandria. Like, let's say she hides, Herschel hides away, somewhere. And then basically like they go and get him maybe in like a scene or two, and then he come back, and the whole scene is about tension between them two. That tension that they both have towards each other, Negan knowing what he did, and coming to grips with it. You could see it at the beginning of the episode. He realized what he did, and I think at first he was just like, oh shit, that's right, I did that. And that whole tension could have built the first episode of this new Walking Dead half-ass season.
I still hate the fact that he killed Glenn and Abraham.
Oh yeah.
it's never gonna get let go. But I still like his character.
I think he's redeemable. I think anybody in the show
That's what I was gonna say. I think
can
his
be
character
redeemed.
is redeemable. But to redeem himself with Maggie, he's gonna have to save her son's life. That is the only visible way that I can see him repaying her for the damage that he's done is if he saves her son's life. That is the only way, because otherwise there's just going to be this horrid
What you mean,
tension
like
where
die for his son, or like just
no,
save him?
no, he's going to have to like do some badass Negan shit to save her fucking son's life in order to at least gain an ounce of her trust.
I think, but I think not just her. I think not just Herschel, but Maggie as well. I think it can't just be one. I think it has to be both of them.
She's always gonna look at him as the man that killed her husband.
I mean,
right?
yeah, and everybody understands that. That's why
But it's like
they said in the episode, like the jury's still out as far as Negan.
How many people in that sort of situation are gonna lose their mind and turn a little bit crazy?
Well, I want to. That's one of the reasons why I do, but I don't want to see the episode with Negan, because I think the obscurity of his character should be like there's some things that shouldn't be explained on, and I think Lucille and his backstory, I think keeping it not necessarily a mystery, but a thing where it's kind of like implied.
But at this point, they're trying to tie all their loose ends. Because
yeah, well, they're also trying to
end.
make him into a good person, so possibly like showing people like how he came into this world, or how he kind of survived and did what he did. I think they're gonna try to make humanize him a little bit more. They did at the beginning, at the end of the war, between like Rick and Negan, where he basically started having really like emotional feelings towards Carl's death.
Yeah.
So I think they started there, but I still think that it's the question. So
I really like the relationship between Judith and Negan as well, because at least for me, he cared about Carl a lot.
Yeah,
and going back, I'm still pissed off that Chandler Riggs isn't in the show, because he's like one of the only survivors, Carl, in the comics.
There's people that live in the city, like in my city, that don't actually know the real reason. That's the fun part. Is like there's people that live around the area that are, I wouldn't say new to the area, but there are people that have been around and they've watched the show and they still don't exactly know what happened with the Chandler Riggs thing. Like it's just like that's a big shit for our city. That was going around. That was not a small thing. So for like people in the city to not really know about what kind of went on and stuff like that, that's a little weird. Is there any last stories you want to talk about before we end this little doohickey?
One thing I wanted to touch on quickly was just, do we think we'll get any episodes of Lord of the Rings this year, or do you think it'll be 2022? Because I've always seen, right, and this has happened with all 6 movies, is they've always come out in December. It's always been like around Christmas time. Peter Jackson always liked releasing in December.
It's on my birthday usually, December 17th.
Yeah, around that time. It's like a week before Christmas sort of thing. I think
he might do the shows a little bit different just because of how TV scheduling works compared to movie scheduling.
But I don't know how hands-on he is with the show, because I know they're using his studio to film it, like all the big stages and stuff, but I don't know how hands-on he is with the show.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's probably very hands-on. Like he's the, he's kind of the GOAT when it comes to like lore, unless they have somebody else there that knows more.
Because he got done last year. I don't know if you bought them. I have. He remastered The Hobbits and The Lord of the Rings in 4K.
I don't have anything 4K, so there's no point in me getting it.
No, but like you can. It doesn't matter if you don't have anything 4K. Like he's visually remastered all of the Lord of the Rings.
Well, I get that.
So that they're in so that they're in Ultra HD and that you can actually like.
Mm.
I was watching them and I was like, God, I was like, it's crazy to think that these films came out in 2000 and goddamn one.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm
What were
sitting
we
there and
talking about Star Wars too? We were talking about Star Wars and the fact that Star Wars came out in '99. The first one did, or no, the prequel.
The first one came out in '77.
No, well, I was talking about the prequel. The prequel came out in '99.
I mean, yeah, you look at the CG and you know that there's to me that there's three movies that kind of stand out in those times that you know that would be easy to make CG wise in today's world, but back then the complication they were inventing the technology.
Oh yeah.
You know, Star Wars in '99, Potter in 2002 or one. I think it was 2001, and Lord of the Rings was also in 2001. But
Yeah.
Peter Jackson started filming in '97
Yeah.
because you know that's how long it took. I think it was like 2.5 years, and then he went into production, and of course he's got to edit 3 full movies, and then their extended editions, and
Well, they also
but
had.
yeah,
I mean, you also had X-Men at that time too.
oh, and X-Men too. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bryan Singer did.
Yeah,
I thought
X-Men, Sam Raimi Spider-Man's.
Oh
a lot
that was
of stuff.
2002. The first one was You know, you think about that
So.
time. It's like CG on that scale was kind of unheard of. I think today it's overused. People have kind of. That was one of the cool things.
I think it's a budgetary cheat. Where people like, oh, okay, well, we're not going to be able to do this practically, so let's go ahead and which I get it. I mean, the world is kind of, I wouldn't say it's more populated than it was. Like, it's not like we gained like 50 trillion people, but I feel like the idea of scheduling conflicts with a lot of stuff that's going on now, and basically just being able to,
CG saves a bunch of time.
Yeah, and
I think at least for the actors anyway.
Yeah, so I think that's a.
Because like Weta, Weta practically works on everything, and that was a company built by Peter Jackson.
Yeah. All right. So the last thing I want to touch on, which is kind of fitting because it's the Legionnaire podcast. Okay. So the CW's Superman and Lois. I did watch the first episode. I did like it. I thought it's CW, of course, so it's going to be like kind of like a TV drama mixed in with, superpowers. But I did like the fact that they're bringing in, like, it's kind of like an Adventures of Lois and Chloe.
Lois and Clark.
Yeah, they're bringing that aspect, but it's like he has kids that are like teenagers, they're freshmen in high school, and he has to deal with becoming being Superman and dealing with being a father and balancing those two, while also dealing with the idea that there's a possibility that they have powers, but they don't know that he's Superman, so he has to tell them that. So it's that whole like family dynamic mixed in with Superman that I think would humanize him. Now I know they've done that kind of in the past, but I feel like they should definitely. I feel like them touching on it a little bit more now would be better, because I mean the CW shows are okay. They're not bad.
Yeah, unless they're called the 100, in which they completely shit on the last season and just ruin the entire story. But you know what? It's fine. We don't need to talk about it.
Yeah, but I
doesn't
think
piss me off or anything.
But I think it's good. I think episode 2 comes out tonight, actually. So if you get a sec, go ahead and watch it. It's on the CW, or if you don't have CW and you have online. Go online to cw.com or whatever it is, and you can just watch it for free. They don't charge anything extra, so that's always good.
I'll give it a watch. Here's one thing that I do want to touch on next week. We're going to touch on Superman, and we're going to touch on whether it needs to be a soft reboot of Superman or a full reboot, because this is the thing that's being talked about with Warner Brothers right now. I like Henry Cavill as Superman. He's a good Superman.
Right.
But the problem is, he didn't really have the best scripts to work with in terms of the character of Superman, right? So I believe that giving him another shot with somebody that actually completely understands the character of Superman, because
I don't think it's something we need to talk about next week. I think we can talk about that real quick. I think I think the visuals that were put out there by Zack Snyder were very awesome. I think the story, however,
The score was incredible.
yeah, the score was awesome. I mean, it's Hans Zimmer. Like, how could you not go? Like, come on, it's gonna be a sad day when he passes. But um, I think the script was a big problem because of the fact that it made this guy. He made him. Well, first and foremost, okay, let me preface this right off the bat. They did the Superman mythos weird because they were going based off of the New 52 story. So going off of the New 52 story, Superman's Jonathan Kent died with this wavering thing of like you shouldn't really show your powers. That's what his stance was. Whereas the old school Jonathan Kent and Martha Kent were like, you have the ability to save people. You can be the star that people look upon and strive to become. You're the hope of humanity. You're what people aspire to. He was saying that Jor-El in that movie was old school Jonathan Kent versus Jonathan Kent was like the New 52 version. So I think they need to redo that a little bit and make him more aspirational. Him basically just deciding to become Superman because he sat in a church and was like, hey, people are going to get hurt. Superman wouldn't do that. Superman would acknowledge what's going on and try to help out. He wouldn't go to a church and ask some random person what to do. That's not who Superman's character is, and I think that's one of his biggest flaws. But yeah, we're running on 116, so go ahead. Last thoughts.
Just quickly, do you believe soft reboot with Henry Cavill or full reboot with the new recast of Superman?
Soft reboot with Cavill. I think Cavill's awesome. I don't think it has anything. I don't think it has anything to do with the actor. It's always the script.
No, he's great. He's great.
Yeah, I don't think it has nothing to do with him. There are some actors out there that their scripts are bad, but they're also bad. Case in point, Twilight. And Kristen Stewart.
Well, hold on.
Kristen Stewart. I'm not saying Robert Pattinson. I'm not saying him.
No, but Kristen Stewart's actually, she's okay.
Since when?
Well, I've seen her in other stuff where she's been good. I just don't think Twilight painted her in the best picture.
No, she has the same mannerisms in every film. Like in every film that she's been in, she has the same mannerisms. She has not changed her mannerisms for any of the films. Like you literally watch every one of those. Like I get it. She doesn't like interviews. Get it.
I see her in the new Charlie's Angels. I thought she was good in that.
Sure. They shouldn't have done it.
Or
but
at least
whatever.
she was okay, but
they shouldn't have done a new one anyways. Personally,
no, they should not. But you know what? It's Hollywood, Cal. They're all about the money.
Oh yeah.
Which,
all right.
You know, probably in 10 years' time, we'll see a new rebooted version of Harry Potter, and I'll be pissed off. And
oh yeah. All right, boys, that's going to do it for the end of the Legionnaires podcast, episode 4. Catch up next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully we can get Ryan on there, but if not, I'm going to try to get somebody else on there so it's not us just sitting here, chit-chatting with each other. We can have a little bit different perspective because me and you kind of agree about a lot of stuff. And so it's good to have some diversity in here. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe to this YouTube video when y'all see it. And appreciate everybody that came into the stream to watch it. And we'll see y'all later. This has been your boy Cal and Grant. Peace.